how do you mentor your assistants, or even how do you help them, say, get bumped up?
Well, that's always tricky. That's the goal. I don't want any permanent assistants ever. And so if I'm interviewing them, and sometimes you get, career assistants. And by the way, there is nothing wrong with that the career assistant needs to apologize for. If that's where you're most comfortable and that's where you see your career going and you're happy and content with that, great. I would prefer an editor who's always looking to cut as another storytelling voice in the cutting room, and someone who has the opportunity to cut scenes that I can review the work. And because ultimately it's a help. It's a lot of help. I mean, we're on fast deadlines on a lot of the projects I'm on. And sometimes I don't have it all figured out myself. And it's the assistant who comes up with an idea or presents a cut that ends up working out. And, at this point, it's hard for me to completely hand over the reins to my assistants because a lot of the things that I'm working on, there is no template for it. But in terms of helping them get bumped up, it's just being a wide open book with everything that I can share. And, I've been lucky to have some really great assistants who understood anticipation of my needs and what the show's needs are. And then, look, we're human beings. Some days we're not at our best. Some days we have things that are tugging at us in life. And, like Augustine's a great example of that when we work together. Now we're working together remotely, but along the way, he can tell me, hey, let's go walk and get a coffee. And then, he'll ask me, what's bugging me or whatever. And I don't bring that to the workplace, but it's a way to be able to just share that, walk and get coffee, stretch out my legs, and then kind of just shed the thing that's on my mind that I haven't been able to completely focus on. So I'm looking for someone who has a good sense of humor in a cutting room, someone that we can spend long hours together, someone who believes in working hard, and just to support that person as well as them the way that they support me. So, I look for the different level of jobs that get offered that I hear about that I go, oh, man, you might be good for this, because we all have to start somewhere. And I think we have to identify honestly where we're at in our careers and what we're qualified for. So, yeah, I mean, that's basically how I approach hiring assistants, what I look for in an assistant, and what I'm capable of helping them with along the way, as well as giving them the credit in front of the director or producer or whomever. I never, if something doesn't work and we still want to try it, I never say, oh, yeah, that, he cut that or she cut that. It's only the positive stuff.
Yeah, it's important to give people those opportunities if possible.
And recognizing their contributions, because what assistants do is very, very valuable. And I want to make sure that I don't underappreciate that, because for me, my career journey, I was never an assistant editor and I didn't go to film school. So I want to make sure that, I'm a self-made guy. So I want to make sure that I'm appreciating all the contributions that assistants have to offer, not just in organizing the project and, doing turnovers and all those things that they end up doing. But as a real storytelling voice, that probably for me is the most important thing, that important trait that I look for in an assistant editor, the ability to allow them to have their voice and come in and look at a cut, because I usually run cuts by my assistant first. They're the first eyes that are ever going to see it after myself. And then I go, just watch this, and then let's have a brief talk about it afterwards. Tell me what you got out of the scene. I'll tell you what I was trying to impart in the scene. And if you got that, great. And if you think there's more there to go after, I'll go and continue to explore. If I didn't hit the mark, I know I need to revisit it. So that's a really big, important part of it. Like when I was on 13 Lives, my lead, Simon Davis, who was just an organizational genius, brilliant, brilliant assistant editor, and also an editor. We were having a lot of trouble just trying to figure out the end, because as it was scripted, we had multiple endings, and there was a lot to wrap up there with all the characters and events that had happened. And initially we had like a birthday party there, which lived briefly in the scene in the end of the movie, but it only serves now to further the information of the epilogue. And originally that was going to be one of the options. And we kept talking about it and talking about it. And after the weight of the film and the power of the film, we were presented with, it just felt underwhelming. So Simon and I started talking about, well, there's still some outstanding information about what happened to the boys, what happened to the coach, what happened with the cave, what happened with the divers and everything like that. And we didn't want to do the usual thing in a biopic, which is to show the pictures of the real actors, because we had done that, or the real people. We had done that on 13 Live, so we wanted to kind of depart from that idea and not repeat ourselves. And it was Simon who went off and did a little like mini edit, cross-cutting some things, putting the information on screen. And I saw it and I was like, that's fantastic. It is, you've called together everything that we've been talking about cohesively. And I'm going to cut this into the film and I'm going to present this and I'm going to give you credit once we see this. And pretty much that's what lives in the film. I went in and, really finessed it and everything, but that was an extremely valuable contribution with someone that I valued beyond just the title of, for him, it was associate editor, just as an editor and storytelling collaborator.